Well, hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole, everyone. My name is Amy, and I will be with you for the show today. And we are starting off with what looks to be three early bulls that are wanting to cool down on this extremely warm day. I would be doing the exact same thing if I was them. Oh, it looks like we have two white-faced whistling ducks here as well that were trying to get out the way as these elephants move off. Now, remember, everyone, that this is a live and interactive show as well. So please do chat to me. I would love to hear from you. And in this show, we actually get to chat quite a bit, talk about a lot of topics. And it's a wonderful way to connect with you all and to get your questions through to me. So please do so on the Wild Earth website or the app. You can also chat to me in the YouTube chat stream. Just remember to use @FC if you'd like those questions or comments to come directly to me. Or you can join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth. Well, that was short and sweet, but at least we got to see them. Let's head over to Okakuyo. Well, some more elephants. I'm not complaining. It's always wonderful to see them here in this spot. And we've actually had them pretty much all week, coming every day. I can imagine they need to cool down. This one's having a good splash. Mercedes, hello. Thank you for always saying hi and greeting us here at Wild Earth. We really appreciate you watching. And it is Happy Wednesday, pretty much halfway through the week. It's always good to get to Wednesday, halfway at least till the weekend. So that is something to celebrate. There are a few springbucks dotted around that are at the water's edge, and there's a herd of something in the distance. I'm not sure if it's a zebra, maybe hemsbok, but hopefully they'll approach a little bit closer and we'll be able to get a better look at them. Starbuck, hello, hello. Lovely to hear from you again. You are asking if elephants are territorial. No, they are not. They are not territorial animals. They don't mark their territories or actively defend them, which would mean fighting with other elephants to get them out of a certain area. They simply all really share and are quite happy to do so. It doesn't mean that elephants don't ever fight. The bulls do compete for mating rights. As with many animals that aren't territorial, they'll still compete for mating rights with females. And they can lead to some quite intense clashes. Rosie, hello to you as well. And it's wonderful to hear from you. I'm excited for the show today. No idea what we're going to see, but it's always a surprise here and there. It could just be on the verge of something epic. You never know. Well, this is such a beautiful and peaceful scene. Let's head a little bit, well, quite close by to here, actually, but also in Namibia to Safari Hook. Oh, wow. It looks like the elephants around Etosha all have the same idea today. What a beautiful picture this is with the reflections in the water. Apologies, everyone. The feed froze there, but we'll see if it comes right. We can maybe head back. But for now, we're back here at the beautiful Okakuyo. I think there are some impalas under the tree, just because there are some very little ones standing there. And I wonder if those aren't impala lambs and then springbuck near the water. They could also be springbuck, I suppose. But just based on the silhouette and the size that I can see there. Let's head over to Juma. Well, we are at Juma with some impalas that are right close next to the camera here, which is awesome. There's lovely shade under these trees here, and often we do find animals tend to gather underneath. There's also an oxpecker that's very much doing its thing here. It's fascinating to see it how it picks away at little sort of in streaks, one line, then the next line, then the next line. Very efficient grooming, making sure it doesn't miss a spot. Almost like a brush. Rosie, you say you learn such a lot just by listening. Always love time spent at the waterhole. Thanks, Rosie. It's wonderful to hear from people who enjoy the show and have it part of pretty much their daily lives, which is amazing. And we don't take that for granted at all. So thank you to everyone for joining. And perhaps you're new and have just discovered the channel, or perhaps joining this show for the first time. And I really do hope that you find it relaxing, informative, and just something different. Kate, no, not all antelopes have the same gestation period at all, and that is because they are different sizes. Basically, I would say the smaller the antelope, generally, the shorter the gestation. Um, if we look at small to medium sized antelopes, we're looking at gestation period of about 5 to 6 months. Whereas if we look at large antelopes, such as kudus, for example, even Nyala, kudus being 9 months, I think Nyala is just less than that. So it definitely does link or correlate somewhat to the size of the antelope, and they aren't all pregnant for the same amount of time. And oxpeckers are fascinating. They, for the most part, do a wonderful job helping reduce the tick load on many, many animals. And it's interesting that we have such a good view of this one and the way, its foot structure is adapted to be able to cling on to the sides of animals, the way the beak works, even the tip of the tail, almost forming a fork like structure that helps secure it, similar to that of woodpeckers, so that it can sort of cling onto the side without falling off. Well, it's lovely to see this herd of impalas around the waterhole here. Let's head over to the beautiful Stony Point. We have been spoiled with Stony Point this week. I have absolutely loved spending time here with the dassies and the penguins. And we have a little dassie that's popping its head out into the sunshine right now. This Dassie is looking very, very relaxed here. But how long are those eyebrows? Goodness me. And eyelashes, actually. Both are pretty impressive. I don't think I've ever noticed that before, but just the way that the sun is catching it, you can really see how long those are. And that's all to do with sensing around the head area. So, of course, if anything touches those hairs, the Dassie can feel that, the rock hyrax can feel that. So it allows it to be a little bit more aware of what's close to its head. Ivan, you are saying hi from a snowy North Carolina in the States. You want to know, do heat waves coming off the land affect an animal's eyesight or perception the way it does ours? So the heat waves we see, when it is hot, and particularly coming off hot surfaces, is actually the bending of light through different temperatures of air. And it's sort of it's not so much actual waves as it is the light that's passing through those different pockets of air temperature, and it bends to form the waves that we see. And I think there's no reason that I could think of that the animals wouldn't be able to see that as well, because they also see light. It's not at a particular frequency in terms of color or anything like that. It's simply just the sunlight that's being bent by air temperature. So, in that way, obviously, distance wise may depend from animal to animal, but I think that would also be something that they could see. Okay, wonderful. Some elephants have arrived at Chuma. Let's head over there. Well, this is reminding me of my game drive this morning that I did at this very same pan. We had a herd of elephants that came to drink early in the morning. Well, I suppose it wasn't as early, 7:30 or so. Um, it was a wonderful sighting right at the end of drive, just before 8 o'clock. And now we have another that's come absolutely for water, but also to splash themselves because it is so hot today. Yano, you say thank you so much. You've really missed watching the animals, and now you are in your glory. You love, love, love watching. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for letting us know. I think that's a bushbuck walking in the background, if anyone was wondering what that antelope was. Oh, no, it's probably Nyala's. I can see the rest of the group joining there. But these elephants are loving life at the span. It's a heat wave at the moment in the Lowveld. This whole week is extraordinarily high temperatures. So the animals, it's, I don't know if it bothers them. They live out here day in and day out, without air conditioners or swimming pools like we have, but they do have water holes, which is their version of a swimming pool. And that's why often we see them coming, particularly elephants, to cool down. The sounds are also always really lovely when we have these animals at the water. Oh, there was a little one in between. I didn't even see that little one. Oh, there's actually a few more elephants around that maybe went to the mud there. Maybe they'll also pop past the pan for a drink. This herd is moving off though. How cool that we have them come so close. Wow, we are surrounded by elephants. I was just letting us take a moment there to enjoy watching. And this little one, oh, it's very cute. Already eating lots of grass, probably over a year now. Actually, it looks like it's just starting to get its little tusks, which means it's about the 2 year mark. And when it comes to grass now, what these elephants do is they sort of stuff their mouths with a lot of pieces of grass, and you'll see it sticking out there on the side. And often they pull up the grass, hi, little one, all the way from the root, and they put in their mouth and they chew, chew, grind away. And then eventually, actually, the side of the grass that is the root side, which is filled with a bit of soil and maybe the texture isn't so great, actually just falls off. It actually just fell off right now as that little one was eating. So they put it in, they munch, and you'll see that the root side is always on the one side, and they put it in the same way every time. And then they'll munch, and well, both sides sometimes, but often it's the side with the root on that will fall off, which is very clever because an elephant wants to not eat a lot of ground, a lot of soil, a lot of sand. It wears down their teeth a lot quicker, which in turn shortens their lifespan. So it's quite a serious thing at the end of the day. And as they move off now, they'll just be feeding through these open areas and through the thickets. And maybe by the time we head out on game drive at about 4 p.m., they'll be sort of at the next road or through to one of the drainage lines. Oh, Catherine, you say that baby Ellie's is just what your soul needs today. I'm so glad we could show you at least one. There's always a possibility that we'll have a lot more as the Waterhole show goes on. let's head back over to Rosie's pan. The next round for the pool party has started. Well, this is interesting because these are the types of younger bulls that I would expect to give that hippo a hard time. Let's see what happens here. It is still in the water. It's ducked its head under, probably just trying to ignore the commotion. I do feel sorry for the hippo, I must say, but I mean, the elephants have every right to come and cool down here as well. It's just fascinating to see the interaction. Eagle Lover, you say, hi, Amy. How wonderful to visit these locations with Wild Earth without traveling. It is amazing, and it's wonderful that we get to connect you all with nature and do so from the comfort of your homes or your workplaces, wherever you are watching from. But also then present the opportunity to those who want to or who can manage to travel through our travel program as well, where you can come and see these beautiful locations for yourselves, which is amazing and is a whole another aspect and part of the journey. But it is awesome that for those who perhaps that is not an option for, that we get to show you these locations anyway, and just to keep in touch with what's going on, no matter where you are in the world in terms of these waterhole spots. even for those of us who live in Africa, or particularly in South Africa, we can't always get out to the bush, or our next holiday is perhaps a little bit too far away. And we can still have the bush in our lives every single day through Wild Earth. Well, this is rather interesting. There's 4 of them in here now. And they're pushing further and further to the left. Ronnie, yes, they can puncture each other with their tusks. It's a rare thing, but I have seen an elephant with an old puncture wound. So that is a possibility. And it usually happens with bulls when they have a very serious dominance altercation or fight. That hippo is really laying low there. I'm surprised he hasn't been chased out completely. Although that elephant is chasing off the white-faced whistling ducks. You must imagine how much force must be behind a tusk in order for it to puncture the hide of another elephant. I mean, they aren't particularly sharp. They're quite a blunt tip, even though they come to a point. Some do have sharp tusks, but that's from a breaking or a splitting of the tusk. For the most part, it's actually a rather blunt tip, and you must imagine the force. Oh, goodness. It must be quite something to witness that. Starbuck, you want to know if baby Ellies ever get confused with who mom is? I can't answer that with 100% certainty and say there's never been a little elephant who lost sight of mom or maybe walked up to the wrong female thinking that it was mom, but quickly realized, wait, you're not my mommy. It probably has happened. But they do then realize that, or they do maybe get confused briefly. But for the most part, they are always pretty much glued to mom's side, especially when they are small. And I think scent as well as communication does play a rather large role in being able to identify who mom is. Looks like this Ellie's tummy is a little bit runny. Those poop balls went rather splat splat on the ground. On that note, let's head over to old Daniel for a bit of variety. Oh, it is just beautiful here, isn't it? This green is luminescent today with the grass. And there's a lovely impala, giraffe, and oh, there's actually two giraffes. One's just off in the distance on the left. Oh, another one on the right, and a troop of baboons passing by. Ooh, are these two males having a bit of a go at each other? Looks like it. Their posture's right. Might see a bash now. And they look like two younger ones, so maybe not too serious. Almost looked like they wanted to start necking. So interesting, the difference in coloration and patterning on these two. Yeah, they're definitely competing with each other here. Just their posture, the way they're sort of thinking about moving their head into one another and then thinking against it. Sort of like each other's shadow. Ooh. Wow, they can go low when they neck. It's amazing how much more tan the one is compared to the other. It's almost like it's been dust bathing in some orange soil. Ooh. It's like a boxing match, but it's a little bit more slow motion. Ooh. I mean, the one on the top is not really doing a very good job. The one going lower down is very clever to move out the way, and then getting a jab into the side body there. Wow, everybody, we've got two male giraffes necking here. It's the term we use for when they basically are fighting. I haven't determined exactly how serious this fight is, but you can clearly see the behavior, their stance, the movement. And this one on the left, I'm not sure what's going on there. This is quite serious, but that was hilarious. The way it moved its neck backwards. And you can imagine it doesn't look like they could do too much damage. I mean, they've got quite short horns on the top of their head, but it's the weight that they have behind that neck that can be quite powerful and cause some serious damage. It really is like a boxing match, each one sort of reading the other. Which way are you going to go? Okay, I'm ready. Who's going to take the first punch? George, it will be for dominance. So, giraffes are not territorial, just like elephants. And so they're also competing. I don't know if these two are competing for mating rights per se, but giraffe males will have a hierarchy, and sometimes even younger ones will neck to sort of practice their necking skills, but also to determine dominance between them if one doesn't want to submit. These two, I must say, don't look like the oldest giraffes in the world, or most mature. They look like younger males, let me put it that way. But that's just my observation. I could very well be wrong. Hello, Impala. Yes, we see you. Maybe it's just because they're further away from the camera that they look a bit smaller. But they both have quite prominent calcifications between the eyes, as well as sort of the almost a second set of ossicones that grow just behind the two main ones. So that does mean that they could be quite mature already, actually. It's just maybe the distance that is throwing me off slightly. But they both look in very good condition. This lighter one really has an interesting routine when it starts necking. Has to stretch up before it gives a jab. Rosie, it does look very dangerous. It almost looks like they might twist their neck right off when they do this. All right. Well, we're going to leave these necking giraffes. We might be back quite soon. We'll see. But for now, let's head over to Oliphant with a crocodile. Oh, wow. A croc on the move, actually. Very, very cool. It's always nice to see, the movement of a crocodile, what they get up to. It's quite a big one. I will say it looks rather huge. And you get the sort of whole idea of just how long its tail is as well. And it's interesting how you can see the current is flowing from left to right as the body gets pulled around. And the Olifants River flows a little bit further north from where the Sabi Sands is located, where Juma is. And it is known for having a lot of crocodiles in the river. Damien, they are super dangerous to humans. I mean, to all animals, really. But it's one thing. The one thing with crocodiles is that they don't differentiate humans from other animals, whereas almost every other species sees us as this two-legged animal, which is completely different from really anything else that they see. And that sort of silhouette is an intimidating one. And they see, oh, all of a sudden, you don't look like food to me. You're something else, which puts us at, I don't want to say advantage, but it creates a safety element in that. And it's why one can go off on foot. Of course, with the safety, if you're doing a proper walk with the safety of a rifle as a last resort. But you can see as you spend time on foot with these animals that they react differently to you on two legs as compared to four wheels. And the thing is with crocodiles, they don't see it like that. They just see an opportunity for a meal and they'll grab anything. And that is why they are so dangerous, particularly in small pans where you might think that there is no crocodile because you can't see anything. It is unbelievable how they can disappear in such a small body of water. And that's why you can never, ever assume. Oh, there must be a little bit of a sandbank there, or maybe it just gets shallower as he goes towards the shore. That is a really big crocodile. There seems to be another channel on that side that maybe he was going to. And it's interesting to think why this croc is moving. If it's perhaps going upstream looking for an opportunity. Maybe it is hungry. Maybe it wants to get to a certain area. Maybe it's trying to find fish. Most of the time, they eat a lot of catfish. Wow, this is such a fantastic crocodile sighting. Maybe it's going to come sunbathe now. Bird's Eye, you want to know how, if we can tell how old these guys are just by looking how big they are. So, in a way, yes, you can definitely get an idea of age by looking at its size. And this crocodile is huge. I mean, I don't really have a sort of to not see it with my own eyes makes it difficult to give an exact or an accurate judgment, but it does look rather large. very wide already in the center, long tail. I would say at least 4 meters in length. And crocodiles continue to grow throughout their lives, and they can reach an age of 30, 40, even up to, I think, over 70 years, some crocodiles, if not more. So it is, you know, I suppose as they get older, of course, they get bigger. And the really monstrous ones that are about 6 meters in length. Um, oh, wow, that tree just got swept away with the current. Um, those are, you're probably looking at decades, 30 years plus. Whereas, this crocodile, it could be that big, but he's definitely, he or she, impossible to tell male from female as far as I'm aware by just looking like this, or in fact, in most circumstances. But it's a mature individual. And I would definitely say over the age of 20, probably even more than 30 years, but difficult to give an exact age. Smeraldo, you want to know how fast can a crocodile get when it actually wants to kill something? So, of course, being on water and being on land is two different stories. They can get really fast in the water, I think about 20 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas on land, it's about 10 or so that they can reach in a sprint. But they can lunge really quickly. I don't know the exact speed of their lunge capability, but that's often how they catch unsuspecting prey at the water's edge. They duck low underneath the water, disappear completely, and when an animal comes to drink, they launch out and grab them using their hind legs and their tail as almost like a spring to jump out. Richard, yes, for the most part, crocs are solitary animals. We can sometimes see, areas like along this river, actually further within the Kruger, called Croc Gorge, where there are hundreds of crocodiles in an area because of the fantastic sort of breeding. It's where they really like to breed, I suppose. It's a good area for them, very isolated, and that sort of thing. But actually, very common for them to be completely on their own. Spice, interesting. You want to know, do crocs swim against the current or do they use it when they're hunting, and how their body and tail helps with that? So they definitely can swim against the current. They can also go for a nice, easy downstream float. I've seen them do it both ways before. And absolutely, their feet, their tail, all of that is perfectly adapted to help them move in the water. So if they are swimming upstream, you can bet that those webbed feet, as well as their tail, is all part of pushing them forward and moving easily, gliding through the water like we saw. It was here. And it just goes to show how quickly they can disappear, especially if they are back in the water. But to go back to your question, Richard, they don't form sort of family groups. They don't have a social structure in that regard. It's really each crocodile for itself. They pair up in mating time and they have their eggs, which should be hatching now around December time in the heat of summer, um, in this part of Africa. And then the female will be with its hatchlings, potentially for up to a year, depending on how well they develop, and how many of them survive. Well, I'm glad we found him again. It again. It did really disappear there for a little while, and it just shows how easily they can blend in. But it's on the move. It has an idea in mind. I'm not sure what that idea is. Grace, yes, actually, for the most part, crocodiles. I don't know if it's a preference as much as it is just an ease of availability to eat catfish. Well, it's been a wonderful sighting with this crocodile. Wow. Let's head over to Tao. Oh, wow. So many zebra as well as a herd of wildebeest. Oh, there are some kudus also moving a little bit further in the background, and these zebras are enjoying a lovely drink. There's some Egyptian geese as well, and I'm sure not too far from now we might even get an Ellie coming down here at Tau. I do tend to see a lot of them. There were also a few warthogs popping out there just now. I think there might be a bit of a muddy patch that they were enjoying. Spas, it is great to see wildebeest and zebra. You want to know what the birds were flying around? So I think those looked like some common moor hens. I'm not sure why the one seemed to be chasing the other one around, but that did look like what it was. Smeraldo, it's an age old question, isn't it? Are they black with white stripes or white with black stripes? I think they are black with white and black stripes. So, underneath the hair that's on the outside of their bodies is black skin, dark skin. But the stripes themselves are each black and white is fur. So there's black stripes and there's white stripes, but they're all growing out of a black skinned body. So hopefully that answers your question, Smeraldo, and we can put the age old debate to bed. George, it is a beautiful spread of animals. There's a warthog there that is seriously getting stuck in the mud. We can just see it peeping out. It's so well camouflaged, especially once it's covered in mud. Well, it looks like many of these animals are moving off. There's a wildebeest that's found the shade, and I think that's very much needed with the heat that's across the north of the country at the moment. I think actually most of the country is having lovely weather. Our northeastern corner is slightly more extreme at the moment. Let's head back over to Rosie's. Oh, hooray! I'm loving this pattern at the moment. I'm glad the hippo hasn't been pushed out and they've all been peacefully able to share the spot. Well, I do love an elephant pool party, and it's wonderful to see these Ellies enjoying themselves so much in the presence of a hippo as well. Well, while we can, let's head up to Kenya and see some baboons at Lentor. I do love a bit of variety in the show, and when we can pop up to some different places, especially when there is a troop as active as these are. It's such a beautiful spot here. Oh, hello. We've got a visitor. They look like they're grabbing the flowers, maybe, that have fallen down onto the top of the water. Looks like some form of an acacia or a thorn tree. Hi, Sarah. You say you've just caught up on this morning's drive, and now you see that I'm on the waterhole as well. Yeah, it's been a busy few days for me, filling in here while I'm at Juma as well. I've got, of course, this show, and then tomorrow I'll be on the waterhole as well. Possibly my last one for the year, actually, which is crazy but true. So I thought I would push in as much as I can before I head off on leave the middle of next week. Mindy, yes, that baboon was definitely ready for its close up, that's for sure. Animal lover, you'd like to know if baboons are more prevalent in southern Africa compared to monkeys. Um, it's difficult to say which one is more prevalent or more abundant. They both are um, around in areas, both in reserves as well as some other areas around, I wouldn't say cities, but settlements that are near nature or mountains. Um, Hi, little one. So I would have to say it's probably even maybe baboons slightly more, just being a larger animal. Maybe there's more of them, but there's really no basis for me saying that. Other than that, I probably see baboons more than monkeys. Birds, I think they're eating the leaves or flowers that are falling from this tree that is landing in the water here. Could very well be some insects mixed in there as well. Spas, it is so special, and I'm so glad that we are able to see these baboons here at this beautiful location. Animal lover, it's such a pleasure. We have had a fantastic show today, really. And we saw so much variety, which was really cool. And the show flew by. Oh my goodness gracious me. I can't believe that it's gone so quickly, but it does go faster when we've got a lot of variety. I feel like this baboon is checking me out properly. Yeah, are you also having a look at me now as well? Or us, should I say? Yeah, they're definitely eating, I think, some flowers. It looks like sort of something on a stem that's landing in the water. Well, everyone, it has come to the end of the show. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining us. I do hope that you have enjoyed spending some time at the waterhole with me and the team here this afternoon. Thank you to all of you for sending through comments and questions to me. We had some great chats as well. It's always wonderful to hear from all of you and how much you all enjoy the show. So that is so great. Remember, the waterhole will be back tomorrow, and I'll be back with you for that. So enjoy your day or evening ahead, depending where you are in the world, and I'll see you out on a drive later this afternoon. Goodbye for now.